Okay, thank you. Senator Barrasso.
Well, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Klein, last week before the House, you were asked some questions. One was about your involvement in the voluntary settlement agreement involving the Rice's whale in July. You avoided the question, so please just yes or no. Were you consulted, informed, or otherwise involved in the settlement agreement involving the Rice's whale?
Well, thank you for the question. There is, from BALM's perspective, we share NOAA's concerns about the status of the Rice's whale in the Gulf of Mexico, and we put forward some voluntary recommended measures in a notice to lessees to try and address potential impacts to the Rice's whale.
So you were consulted by what you just said. So I'd note that the lawsuit at issue did not involve your agency. So was the decision to impose restrictions on the leases and remove 6 million acres from the lease sale 261 a coordinated effort across the administration? Or was it principally your decision as the director of the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management?
Well, thank you for the question. Again, we proposed some what we believe to be reasonable measures to address potential impacts to a critically endangered species in the Gulf of Mexico. We are tied up in litigation in several cases around these lease sales. But from BOEM's perspective, again, we share NOAA's concerns about the status of this critically endangered species. And right now, there are recommended measures that companies can take. And I know that from speaking to oil and gas companies, they share our concerns about making sure that their activities are done in a sustainable, safe, and environmentally protective way. So we hope we can continue to work forward to make sure that this species doesn't go extinct on our watch.
So as we've heard then from Senator Hyde-Smith, Senator Murkowski, Senator Cassidy, offshore energy production is critically important to our U.S. economy and our U.S. national security. The decision that you make have enormous consequences for this country, for coastal states, for American workers. I know you have a lot of concerns about the globe. I'm talking about American coastal states, American workers, American citizens, our country, where affordable energy matters. Would you support legislation requiring the Senate to confirm the person who holds your position, the director of the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, because right now it's not a confirmable position?
Well, thank you for the question. As always, my Bureau and the Department of Interior and the administration stands ready to provide technical assistance to any proposed legislation that is put before us and provide administration positions. So we're ready to do that if there's a proposal.
But you don't have a vision of whether that should be a confirmable position or not in terms of the role that it plays in our nation's economy and the jobs?
Right now, personally, I am focused on doing the best job that I can as director of the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management and implementing the President's agenda to address climate change and ensure that the federal government is doing something to address that crisis.
So along that line, the 30 gigawatts of offshore wind energy by 2030, the Biden administration has set that goal. You're involved in generating 30 gigawatts of electricity from offshore wind by the year 2030. So 2 weeks ago, Politico ran a story. Mr. Chairman, I asked it submitted to the record. The headline, Pipe Dream. Biden's offshore wind plan takes a hit. A quarter of the power plan from ocean turbines by 2030 is facing delays and cancellations. The about 7.5 gigawatts. The article quotes an analyst from Bloomberg New Energy Finance saying U.S. targets are further from reality. I've been saying it was a pipe dream at the beginning of the year. My opinion is even stronger today. So when are you going to end the happy talk and admit that 30 gigawatts is not going to be available by 2030? And don't you really owe the country frank and candid assessment as energy prices continue to go up, as your role makes us less reliant on affordable, available energy and more focused on what is a pipe dream? And, you know, we have people responsible for keeping the lights on, and we're not being helped along the way by misleading the public. So when are you going to fess up and admit that you're not going to meet the goals that you've decided upon or are so critical?
Well, thank you for the question. I think at BOEM, we really, we believe in American ingenuity, innovation, and hard work. We're rolling up our sleeves to make sure that we can work through the hard problems associated with the build-out of a brand-new industry here in the U.S. We hear from folks every day about how they believe that the transition to cleaner energy sources, including offshore wind, which is the only industrial-scale clean energy source available to certain East Coast communities. I believe that these are hard problems, and we have the ability to work through them. We already have 2 projects that are under construction, another 2 that have been approved, and we have approximately 27 gigawatts in the pipeline with more to come in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.